Guild Wars 2 PvP Basics as fast as we can. 3, 2, 1, go. To go to the PvP lobby, just look in the top left corner of your screen, you should see 2 swords. Click on that, there'll be a weird panel, we'll get to that later. Instead, just click on the Enter PvP lobby, which should be in the top left corner of the first tab. Now that you've arrived in the new PvP lobby, and oh my god, there's so many new things. Alright, let's slow down and look over them one at a time. The first thing you should notice is that in the bottom of your screen, your yellow experience bar has changed to be purple, and there will be a new number down there. This signifies your PvP rank and experience, which will go up as you play games. The next thing you should notice is that on the top of your screen, there are 2 new buttons, the 2 crossed swords again, and a helmet. Clicking on the helmet will show you your current PvP build. This includes weapons, sigils, runes, and amulets. This is what is very important and will determine your major stats and any extra effects you may have while playing. Clicking on the little gear will allow you to store your amulets, runes, and sigils alphabetically or categorically, which will allow you to better select exactly which stats and bonuses you would like to have in the game. The second tab down will be your specializations and traits. This is very important as it will differ from your PvE, as well as you do not need to unlock these, because in PvP you get these automatically. This allows you to better select a build and design your own specifically for PvP that will not affect your PvE play. And the third tab down is for Mist Champions for a game mode called Stronghold, but who plays Stronghold? No one. Now we're going to go over that menu that you use to get into the PvP lobby. At the top of the menu are 3 buttons: Exit PvP Lobby, Play on Ranked Arena, or Compete in Ranked Arena. Exit PvP Lobby will deposit you exactly where you were in Tyria before you came into the PvP lobby. This allows you to have ults that you can play PvP on, but not have them leave any areas you would rather have them sit. The next button is Unranked Arena. This is what you're going to use until you are level 20 in PvP, as you are not allowed to play the next button, which is Ranked Arena, until you are level 20. Once you get to level 20, you'll finally be able to go to Ranked Arena, which will allow you to start gaining pips, which will allow you to rank up and get more rewards, and is generally more rewarding, but also more difficult. Also on this screen, there are stats for the most recent game played, how many you've played, how many you've won, how many unranked, ranked, team arenas, solo arenas, etc. that you've done, as well as your mode preference between Stronghold and Conquest, and a pie graph that you can sort, and allow yourself to see exactly how many ranks, unranks, and all those things that you've won on different classes. It's also a quick and dirty way to see exactly what rank you are in PvP. If you don't want to go into the lobby, you can just check this whenever you want. The next tab down is for Leagues. This will allow you to keep track of your progress in ranked matches, starting from Amber and slowly working your way up all the way to Legend rank. The third tab down is a very important tab. Pay close attention. This is Reward Tracks. This is where you're going to get the majority of your rewards from PvP. This will happen whether you play unranked, you play custom games, no matter what, you're always going to get at least a little bit of this. To do it, you're going to select a reward track, and every time you complete a game, you're going to get a certain amount of progress. It will slowly progress up this track, gaining you more and more rewards every time, usually about 1 reward per game, until eventually you hit the final prize, which will usually have something very good and special inside of it. This fourth tab is where I recommend you practice PvP before you go into unranked or ranked. It allows you to just hit play now and get tossed into any random server, and it will allow you to figure out the intricacies and little details of the different maps and practice a bit on your character before you actually go into unranked and ranked. Just click on play now, you'll go into a server, play it, you can leave whenever you want, you're not going to lose anything, you can join whenever you want, even in the middle of a match, and it'll work out just fine. And finally, the last tab is for if you have your own custom server that you want to do stuff with your guild in. This is where you will manage it. Not that important, but I figured I'd mention it anyway. Alright, now it's actually time to get into game. Well, kind of. First, select whether or not you want to play unranked, ranked, or custom. I'm assuming that if you're watching this, you're probably going to not be above level 20 yet, so for now, just click unranked, and you're going to end up in a queue. While you're waiting for the queue to pop, as the cool kids say, you can go and mess around in the map that you're in right now, called Heart of the Mists. There are a few areas, such as managing your bank, that you're going to see as soon as you get in lobby, but if you leave the main kind of hub area, you're going to find a few areas where you can experiment, including an area with golems, where you can attack them, an area with siege engines, and an area with simulated classes to fight against. And they're all actually decently okay, but they're nowhere near a player's level, except for the Mesmer. We don't talk about the Mesmer. Keep in mind that while the simulated classes will fight back, the golems just sit there and allow you to attack them. They also have different armor ratings depending on how big they are, so just keep that in mind. Congratulations, your queue has now popped. Hit that accept button, dismiss if perhaps you're in the middle of something else and you want to finish it up, and we're about to go into the game. There's going to be a quick menu that pops up. It's going to have you choose between 3 different maps. If you don't know the maps yet, just choose one, doesn't really matter. And it will then put it into a lottery type system where every map will have a certain percentage of a pie graph that will be available for it to select. There'll be a little thing that spins around, choose a map, and congrats! That's the map you're going to fight on, and you're going into your first PvP match. You're now in the match, and oh look, more confusing things. Let's break it down one more time. The first thing that will pop up on your screen is instructions. You can read them if you want, you don't have to, I'm going to explain it anyway. Go ahead and close that window and click on the Change Status button on the left corner, which means that you are ready. If everyone in the match presses that button, you will start the match, although that will never happen because people don't understand that you need to press that button. Oh my god, it's not that. It's right there. You have a whole minute and a half to press it. Just press the button. In the upper left-hand corner, you're going to see some names and weird symbols. Those are your teammates. The symbols on the right tell you what buffs they have currently, and even what conditions they have if you're in a team fight, and the symbol on the left will signify exactly what class they are. Finally, in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, you're going to see a mini-map with a bunch of weird things on it. So let's break down the mini-map. This is going to be focused on that one mini-map for a long time, because there's a lot of stuff to go over. First thing you're going to see is 3 white circles with different symbols on them. These represent the different control points. These will change every map in location and exactly what their names are. For instance, on this map, there is the altar, the mine, and the keep. And there will also be some areas that may be lit up in case there is a special thing on the map. In this case, there will eventually be a chieftain and Svanir who will show up that you can kill for an extra buff in the middle of the match. You're also going to see a red castle and a blue castle. This will be on every single map. You will either be in one or the other. This will signify exactly what team you are on. What team you are on is very important, as if you are on one team, then your home is going to be something different than if you were on the other team. I'll get back to what I mean by home in a little bit, but first I would like to go over the rules of PvP. The objective of PvP is to get 500 points. That's it. Any way you want, but there is a general strategy that I will be going over. Points are generated in 3 different ways. The first way is killing players. You will get 5 points for every person you kill, and that will slowly add it to the counter at the top of your screen. The second way is the special effects of every map. In my case, it's Vanir and the Shaman. Killing one of them will give 25 points, and killing both of them will give me 50 points. This will change depending on which map you are on. Some of them don't even have a special point-giving bonus to them, but it is a very important factor in certain maps. And finally, the best, biggest, most ultimate way of getting points is by holding capture points, the little white circles. If you can hold a capture point, it will generate 1 point every second. If you hold 2 points, it'll generate 2 points every second, and if you hold all 3 points, it'll generate 3 points a second. Using all the strategies above, you want to get to 500 points. Depending on which team gets it first, that will signify the winner. Now, there are 3 overall rules for PvP that I like to keep in mind. Points matter more than kills, always fight on a capture point, and always stomp before rezzing. The reason I have point number 1 on here is because you are guaranteed to get points for every capture point you hold, while if you kill, you're not guaranteed to get that kill, plus it's only 5 points. It's not as consistent, it's not as accurate, and it's not as much. The reason I have that second rule is because the way a capture point works is that the team that owns it can prevent the other team from capturing it if they stand on it. This includes even when you're in the down state. So if you go down while standing on a point, this makes sure that the other team cannot capture the point and generate points while you are still generating points. This is very important because this means that you can die on a point versus an entire team, but the longer you stay alive, the more likely it is the rest of your team will come and help you out, as well as keeps your team generating points. And for the third and final rule, what I mean by stomp and res is that rezzing is when one of your teammates is down as you go and revive them, and stomping is when one of your enemies is down. You can do a special flippy move thing that takes about 2 to 3 seconds, where you put a spike through them, and it's an instant kill. No matter what health they're at, whether they're being rezzed or not, you will instantly kill them by stomping. The reason I say always stomp before res is because if you stomp an enemy, your ally, as long as they have hit that enemy, will res automatically. You don't need to touch them, it's rallying off of the enemy. So it's always a good idea to stomp the enemy before rezzing your ally, although this is conditional, as occasionally your ally might need some help because he's on lower health, and you're not going to be able to finish your stomp in time. And now for some quick PvP terminology. The first one is home, like I said before, but there's also mid and far. Home is, in my case, altar on this map because it is the one that is closest to me. Home is usually the one you want to hold because it is closest to your respawn point, so it is easiest to defend even if you die multiple times. Mid is the one in the middle of the map. This is usually the one that is the most contested because neither team is closest to it. It is hard to defend on both, and so you want to kind of go for that one early game and try to capture it. And then far is the one that is closest to the enemy team. It is usually a risky choice to go for far, but sometimes necessary, and also sometimes their team can kind of ignore it, so it's a good time to go for that. There's a few things terminology-wise that are different for the characters. There is bunking and roaming. Roaming is usually the people who are going out and capturing points. This is usually your thieves, occasionally your elementalists, your engineers, those kind of people. And then there are bunks or bunkers. These are the people who are going to sit on a point and try to hold that point for the entire match. They don't want the other team to get it. They just want to sit there. They want to not die. And their goal is to live as long as possible and make sure that no one on the other team gets that point. And they want to stay there for most of the match. They can leave if they need to go help with another fight, but it is better for them to fight on a point, make sure the other team doesn't get it, and wait for backup. And honestly, that's all the help I can give you. A lot of PvP at Guild Wars is just experience. I mean, I've played Guild Wars for 3 years now, and I have done a lot of PvP. And even now, I still have trouble remembering all the rules. I have trouble keeping track of everything. Even my own tips I sometimes forget in the middle of a match, and you just need experience to get used to these things. So my best recommendation for PvP is just get out there, go and try it. Come on. What are you waiting for?